break above 19, it looks like 19,650 or 19,700, and that's currently where the resistance is at. They have been bouncing regularly off 19.4 for the past, I believe, hour or so, or a few hours. Again, looking at your time frame, I did draw this out. This is kind of a prediction, or this is what you can do on TradingView. You can kind of more or less uh, see how things may or may not play out. Obviously, it's not down to a T because there's no way to pinpoint how accurate the candlesticks and such are with the wicks and everything. But you can see my projection that I did make last night with this little wedge right here is more or less Bitcoin hasn't deviated too much from it. It looks like Bitcoin has bounced off of 18.3, 18.4, but it's hard to say whether this is going to stick considering the Fed will be releasing a rate hike of some sort here in the next day or two. That's why we have these red lines right here indicating when the rate hike will occur. We'll find out if it happens tomorrow or Wednesday, not too far from now, but should be interesting. I think the market after the CPI data came out pretty much baked in 75 basis points or 0.75% increase in interest rates. If the Fed does 100 basis points or full percent, markets are going to get nuked. So just prepare yourself. This is true. Everybody gangsta until bear market. Hashtag fake maxis. Just in, South Korean prosecutors say Luna founder Do Kwon is on the run and not cooperating with investigation. Surprise to no one. Do Kwon nowhere to be found. Um, a lot of people put too much faith in the Luna token and got wrecked. It's pretty sad what happened back in May. Saw people on Reddit, whether they were joking or not. I saw people saying they would take their lives because they put everything and anything into Luna, and when they got wrecked, they didn't know how to pay their bills or whatever. And some people were insinuating they might do something like this. Bear market is when fortunes are made. Bitcoin, first time. I'm more or less in the work hard, play hard mode right now. I'm trying to work a few hours overtime every week just so I can invest a bit more. Because the reality is, guys, Bitcoin is down over like 70% or just under 70%. And buying at these prices, while we can go lower a few $1,000s, like I personally think these are bargains. You know, crypto has crashed significantly. And that's why I'm putting in the extra hours. Bitcoin is money that won't fail you, stored in a bank that you can't rob. Coffee shop in the Philippines accepting Bitcoin. Very, very cool. Can buy some coffee with some Bitcoin over in the Philippines at this particular shop. Very cool. I'm sure we see plenty of that down in El Salvador. 60 minutes. What can you do better to lower inflation? Biden says inflation rate month to month was just up an inch. You're not arguing 8.3% is good news. You're acting like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. And this guy says, but it's the highest rate in 40 years. And again, it just shows you how to touch the powers that be are regarding inflation because it doesn't affect them. You know, they make well over six figures, some of them seven, eight figures with all the lobbying that goes on in Congress and such, all the backdoor deals and such. It's ridiculous. And people like Joe Biden are claiming they enrich us. Referring to the migrants that were only at Mar-a-Lago for a 44-hour visit because people at Martha's Vineyard claimed they didn't have the resources or the services to take care of these illegal migrants. But it's just disgusting because the same people, these are the same people that are like, oh, you're a piece of shit if you don't want to have a bunch of people crossing the border and you don't want to take care of them. You're a piece of shit. And just like that, sanctuary cities don't want to be sanctuary cities no more. Referring to people like Lori Lightfoot that was demanding federal aid and federal funding and such to take care of the illegal immigrant crisis. Breaking report, Venezuela now emptying prisons and sending violent criminals to the U.S. state's borders, according to Department of Homeland Security. Media's dead silence, surprise to no one again. Media covers, uh, you know, just half the story, and they skip all the good stuff, because it doesn't benefit the powers that be. If anything, it hurts them, the truth coming out. So that's why they don't discuss it. And it's disgusting because this current administration will not secure the border whatsoever. They claimed Trump was Hitler. They claimed he was xenophobic and such for building a wall. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is still building the wall, so to speak, in parts of Arizona. But by and large, they're ignoring the border. And here we have a flashback of Joe Biden back in 2007 saying no great country can say it is secure without being able to control its borders. What changed? Did you need the votes, Mr. Biden? Is that why your tune changed? Here we have the clown saying the pandemic is over. And if the pandemic is over, as he says, then all the president's emergency powers predicated on a pandemic, all COVID vax mandates, the emergency powers of every governor, emergency use authorizations, and the PrEP Act should all be voided tomorrow. That's right. If it's over, then let's remove all the mandates and such. And it's weird because the FDA is still pushing the boosters and such. Here we have 20 weeks after vaccination, the effectiveness of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine against infection turned negative for children 5 to 11, meaning that vaccinated children were more likely to contract the virus than vaccinated children. A new study shows. It's very weird that the FDA is still pushing it. Meanwhile, you have teenagers at risk of heart problems due to pollution. Study shows. No, 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 no. Don't focus on the fact that something like 30 to 50% of kids were given the jabs. It has nothing to do with that. It's totally climate change and pollution. Here we have children myocarditis ads are now a thing. What is this world we're living in? That these medical procedures are being pushed, and we have the president saying the pandemic's over. Meanwhile, people are just dropping left and right for unknown reasons, unexpected deaths. Here we have leaders calling out uh, Bill Gates. This is from the Italian parliament, for crimes against humanity. And it's pretty interesting because Jimmy Dore actually covered um, something that Bill Gates said not too long ago. I'll play the clip.
You want to see it again? Here we go.
Yeah, so I never met Donald Trump before he was elected. So I saw him at Trump Tower. I said, hey, science and innovation.
Hold on.
It's a great thing. You should be a leader who drives innovation. And that conversation was about a broad set of things in energy, in health, in education. Pick things you want to do that are big. HIV vaccine, you could, accelerate that. Be associated with innovation. And then the second time I saw him was the March after that, so March 2017 in the White House. In both of those two meetings, he asked me if vaccines weren't a bad thing, because he was considering a commission to look into ill effects of vaccines. And somebody, his name is Robert Kennedy Jr., was advising him that vaccines were causing bad things. And I said, no, that's a dead end. That would be a bad thing. Don't do that.
So why would you stop looking into whether vaccines have adverse side effects or such? Why does he not want them to look into that? Is it because he potentially makes millions, if not billions, from these vaccines? It's disgusting. It's because if they did just a little bit of digging, they did some independent studies. I'm sure some side effects are out there. I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any stretch of the imagination. I got my polio vaccine. I got uh, all that stuff when I was little. So you can't come here and say I'm an anti-vaxxer because I'm up to date. And and it's weird because people like Dr. Fauci changed their tune over the course of a few years. Here we have Dr. Paul showing a Dr. Fauci a clip of himself saying that if you get sick, there's no need to get the flu shot. Now, some people are going to say, "Oh, well, the flu and COVID aren't the same." Well, I'm sorry, but the science doesn't vary from sickness to sickness in this case. So, what changed? I don't know. But Dr. Fauci now is like, "Oh, well, even if you get COVID, you need to get boosted, you need to get your jabs." It's like, again, why did the science change? Here we have a Canadian math teacher saying 2 plus 2 equals 4 is white supremacy. Again, more lunacy across the pond. Here we have your energy account, your energy payments. You're paying 52.35 per month last month. Your future payments will be now a whopping like 22 to 25x of what you were paying last month. And all for what, you guys? You know, for Russia to be punished, like it's pretty sad. I'm not saying I'm, against um the Ukrainians whatsoever. I'm more against NATO and the Western powers imposing these sanctions on Russia that are largely affecting people like you and me. Personally, I'm not too affected here in the US besides what I'm paying at the gas pump and maybe some commodities that I'm buying at the store, but it's uh it's much worse for people over in Europe. I can't fathom seeing my energy bill 25x in a matter of months. It's very frightening. Here we have Norway largest carrot farmer just had to throw 80 tons of carrots because he cannot afford the electricity prices. Are you realizing what is happening yet? They're literally destroying the system that we all know, and they're going to make a new one. It's called the Great Reset for a reason. Here we have Ron Paul. He was right. Foreign aid is taking money from the poor people of a rich country and giving it to the rich people of a poor country. It's true, you guys. If you really think all that aid is going to Ukrainian citizens, I'm sorry, but you're a fool. Most of that money, if not all of it, is going to people like Zelensky, the diplomats, the people in government, the people in charge of companies like Burisma and such. Here we have Biden. It's not bad enough that we have a conflict with Russia indirectly via proxy war. But now we have Biden saying American troops would defend Taiwan if invaded by China. So we're going to go to World War III over China. We're going to be fighting a two-front war, you guys. Like, how people don't see what potentially may unfold before our very eyes is very frightening, because we are potentially on the tipping point of World War III, and many people are still in the dark. They think everything's fine and dandy. Oh, well, CNN said this and that. I think the president's doing a great job. It's like, are you even paying attention? Here we have a huge protest in the streets of Paris today against Macron, NATO, and the sanctions on Russia. These people are fed up with the government that's in charge of their country, which is France. They're tired of Macron and NATO and the sanctions on Russia. Again, sanctions aren't hurting Russia by and large. They're largely hurting people in Europe and even people here in the United States to a smaller extent. Here we have Jack Posobiec saying U.S. Army recommends soldiers apply for food stamps. You're going over to the Middle East potentially to die while your kids and wife are at home getting put on food stamps because your government keeps printing so much money. It's sad. And then just a reminder that the system is the terrorist. The only thing worse than sending our soldiers to die in wars based on lies is leaving them broke, homeless, and suffering from mental disorders when they come back to our shores. And it's like, if you look at history, guys, I'm telling you, if you look at history, America was not always the good guy here, especially in the past 20, 30 years. America did some horrific shit over in the Middle East in the name of war on terror and such, trying to get rid of terrorism and shit. If anything, they created more terrorism, more terrorists, and in many ways, the system is the terrorist. So what gives? And then you have, Sheriff, you think homeless veterans should be housed before any refugees. That's my issue with all this stuff, you guys, is they will send millions of people like you and me to go fight for a war. For what? Not for freedom, not for liberty. It's for money. And then, you know what? When you and I come home with PTSD, we can't enjoy the 4th of July. We can't live normal lives because of the horrific shit we saw and we had to do overseas fighting for an unjust war. And then to come back and not be treated with some respect, some form of dignity, it's disgusting. And there's plenty of veterans. Like there's no wonder so many veterans. I'm sorry, but they commit suicide, and it's because they come back, and the government doesn't give a shit about them. The government doesn't take care of them. So enough with the wars. Here we have. I'll leave you with this clip, and we'll call it a day. But I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I'll be on tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Don't mind the plane in the background. We hopefully we get some movement from the market here in the next 8 to 12 hours until our next stream.
I'm Jason Calabrese with the Financial News, and today we're talking to a real Irishman and someone in.
Before I play the clip, if you guys enjoyed the stream today, please like and subscribe. If you're over on YouTube, hit the notification bell to be notified when we go live next, and please share, because I can tell you the algorithm's effing with the amount of people that see my videos and such. I'm not saying that I should have hundreds of views or whatever, but they're definitely suppressing some of the stuff because I'm not promoting what CNN is promoting. I'm not promoting what Fox News is promoting. I'm promoting different stuff because I don't like what they promote. What they promote is largely junk. But yeah, like and subscribe, hit notification bell, be notified when we go live next, and share the video, please. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care and invest wisely. Leave you with the clip.
The money business about what's going on in Ireland with the Celtic Tiger and the banks are hurting so much, the downfall. What's the story here?
Do you really want to know?
I'd love to know.
But I'll tell you, it's like what has happened all over the Western world for the last 20 or 30 years. Greed, and more fucking greed and cheap money. And in Ireland, it's a tragedy what happened to the Tiger. We have, I'd say, 4 causes. We had a stupid fucking government. We had a regulator that was asleep at the wheel. And we had very deceitful and conniving and corrupt developers. And of course, above all, wanking fucking bankers. Wanking bankers. We had these arseholes that for the last 20, 30 years are getting these massive bonuses, these employees and directors of banks, on the misfortune of the working class and getting these huge bonuses and salaries. But, if you and all these arseholes should be thrown in jail and the keys thrown away for the rest of their life. And sir, if you went in and you're unemployed and you wanted to take a loaf of bread out of a store or a supermarket to feed your family, guess what? You'll be up in court for it. These assholes are living all over the world now on the backs of the misfortunate working people. And who's going to pay for all this? We've mortgaged the next generation or two. Who's going to pay for it? The working man. We got the labourer, the small farmer, the fisherman, the nurse, the teacher, the policeman, the fireman, the plumber, the carpenter. Fuck's sake, man. This is a joke.
So I'm sensing a wee bit of discontent.
You are indeed, sir. And by the way, let's not be too cocky in this part of the world, North America either. All these debts that people have accumulated over the last 30 years. Hey, everybody gets their day in the sunshine.
And speaking of the Celtic Tiger and all that you mentioned, that Michael Flatley is really from Chicago, but that's another story.
Fuck off.